and then take 10 laps around this room. Down and give me 20 push-ups.
You're making a spin on that supports the original series. You can't say that about Johnny Lost Josh.
I was like this guy. I was in Lost. My son and I do a podcast on Lost. I didn't have time.
A producer or writer over something? Have they like just insist on putting something in that was stupid? Vice versa?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's something stupid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dr. Grazier's mom.
For the most part, even when they didn't use something I suggested, I never felt that
That's the best part about I was telling someone when I asked about PSG was not being part of the community. Whereas Lost, obviously being the podcast, we got.
Why they chose not to use it. For the most part,
Sometimes we just couldn't understand it.
that was that. It was funny is I found out early on that Brett Thompson and I had
without worrying about like offending
very
anybody.
Yeah, that's good.
You go talk to him, guy. So my interactions mostly with Bradley, but like I said, they listened to the overwhelming bulk of things that I recommended, and when it wasn't, it was something that was potentially this going around. So there wasn't any really headbutting going on. That's so sorry, it's not more dramatic.
It's still a good answer.
Now, I know you can get away with this in Caprica because they don't call going on the old men for nothing, but are there going to be more cameos of earlier Battlestar characters in Caprica? Or have there been any ideas of that? Like, we're going to get like a little Tom Zarek being really angry in a daycare?
Kicking a puppy. Tom Zarek kicks a puppy as a child. I wish we had thought of like the taking over of the daycare episode.
Tom Zarek steals all your candy.
Oh, yeah, Roslyn for school president. The assassination of the entire first grade.
Can you imagine him standing in the bars of his crib looking angry? Jail cell thing really early in life.
The chief in metal shop. But again, as a more serious answer to your question, I think our desire was to let this show. Yes, there are connections, obvious ones, the Adama family, and yet there are surprises coming down the road in that regard as well, perhaps. But we wanted the show to sort of stand on its own legs and inhabit its own space, its own time in this universe. So I can't promise you'll have a lot of that to look forward to, but I can't promise you'll forget all about the old characters because they'll just be so into the new ones. No, but it is meant to. No, not all, not with the chief right here. He's hurt me before. But this show is sort of, we did want it to stand on its own legs, so not so much in that sense a crossover. But down the road, who knows?
I personally think you gotta love a show where the main character is a redheaded computer scientist.
And will you be reusing actors at all? Like, Capt is reused in Caprica.
Yes, that's true. Well, that possibility may exist down the road as well. She was, wonderful. But if it's a case of a character who is, it's so clearly identified with Battlestar, then you start asking questions. Well, is this a younger clone, or if it raises sort of mythology issues, then that would be hard to do. But if there's a good reason to, we'll see.
Now I realize it would be really satisfying if Daniel said shoot.
Oh, okay. Go back and change that. Go back on TV.
No, sorry, you can't.
Have you explored the possibility of a Battlestar Pegasus series, or is Commander Kane just a total other bitch and you don't care about her anymore?
Well, she's dead. I killed her twice now. I think so.
Yes, but I'm sure
Yes.
there's interesting things that happen between the blowing up of Caprica and the discovery of, hey, there's another Battlestar.
She's a great character, and it was great to have a chance to tell in a way her side of the story in Razor. And again, if you get far enough down the road, with these series, maybe, who knows what's possible, a chance of revisiting, vital characters like this. But for now, I can't say there are any immediate plans with Admiral Kane.
My lovely fiance just reminded me of something that I should have brought up on the last question. Speaking of actors on Caprica who were from Battlestar, the last episode to have aired, end of line, Mr. Tayler. Actually, in the score, there's a Battlestar cast member appearing because Alessandro Giuliani sings the opera that accompanies all the montages in the last 2 or 3 acts. So when you hear that haunting voice singing in the score, that's actually, I think of it as Felix Gaeta's grandfather was an opera star or something.
Tom Burgess.
Actually, there have been 5 or 6. Adrian was in that same episode, and there's some other incidental characters that get to have new lives in Caprica. So it's exciting for real fans when you're like, hey, I recognize that.
Question. Maybe more mainly for Michael and Kevin, but where are we going in the coming seasons with Caprica? And I was wondering if you could maybe mention. There was a previous question about bridging the two between Battlestar and Caprica, but where do you see it going forward? Maybe like a little teaser for the fans. And,
Okay. Yes, we've got a whole half season's worth of episodes to look forward to, and apparently they'll be airing beginning in January. So it's a bit of a wait, but I think it'll be worth waiting for. I think, the first half of the season, in a way, was we did a lot to sort of establish this new world, to set it up, to show you the components, to sort of set the seeds for what is to come. The development of artificial intelligence in a really unique way, a 16-year-old downloaded into a robot, and virtual reality, which is turned out to be, I think, a bigger component than we even realized. It just sort of developed organically that way, and it's just kind of interesting. I mean, personally, I've been very interested in it since virtuality, but it just seems like we are so much living in that world already. And that's sort of the essence of, I think, what Caprica is. It's sort of it's a soap opera. It's fun, but it's also, in a way, kind of look at how are we going to make our way through this technological future we're present and we're confronting already. But I think by the second half of the series, is now that we set up this world, second half of this season, when we set up this world, what we're going to see is a lot more action. I mean, a really propulsive narrative. Pretty much, it opens with a promise of big stuff to come, and it pays off literally explosively. So it's the second half of the season is really much more of a sense of a race, and we know these characters now. We put them really through some tough turns, and I think it's just an exciting ride. So I hope everyone who's watched the first half is going to stick around and watch the second, because I think everything you've invested in really pays off, and I hope some new people will watch as well. But and I think if you go to tomorrow's Capt panel with Ron and David Icke and a couple of our wonderful cast members, there's going to be, I heard rumors of a kick-ass trailer for the second half of the season.
I'm not on Caprica. Caprica has a science or a tech advisor. His name's Malcolm McGyver. He's a robotics person. Doesn't mean I haven't worked at Caprica at all. In fact, when I was working on a chapter in 12 colonies for Science of Battlestar, I contacted Jane and said, Jane, now that you're working with the 12 colonies, it might serve you to figure the layout of the 12 colonies. So what I did is I took the chapter, and she agreed, and I said, in the original Bible for Battlestar, it said that the 12 colonies are in one star system. And I told her up front, I said, all the tricks, I'm a planetary scientist, computer scientist first, planetary scientist ultimately. And I said, no matter what I do, I cannot get 12 habitable planets around one star, but star systems could be multiple systems. So, we decided to set it into a multiple star system. Kind of alluded to in the plan but it's a hybrid, so she can have that on. And what I eventually did is I wrote the chapter for Battlestar, and then I wrote an updated version, even